we went from doing 7,000 a month with that book before TikTok to making with just that book in the 200,000, like, and that's profit, right? That's not the overall sales, like just on Amazon. What is that? At 30x almost? It's north of over 500,000 a month in revenue just on TikTok Shop. But the reason why we make over 200,000 per month in profit right now, just on Amazon, is because we own the app. No one else has an Amazon listing on this. If you want to scale into the 6+ figures a month, I haven't seen anyone be able to do that consistently without outside traffic. People make this mistake with every business. Like, they too often try to make a second channel, even though they haven't maxed out the first channel. Like, whatever you have, like, just keep pushing harder. If you have a book that has any level of success and you're not on TikTok Shop, I don't know what to tell you. Right now is Bitcoin 2012. And I'm like, buy a Bitcoin. And you're like, it's $50 or whatever it was. That's how I'm feeling. Because like we're like currently like in the gold mine.
Most publishers believe scaling comes from better books, better ads, or better niches. But once a publishing business starts growing, the real bottleneck is almost never strategy. It's operations. Valentino is a scaling operator who has helped run systems inside a $30 million a year consultancy working directly with 6- and 7-figure businesses. Today, he applies that same operational mindset to publishing and TikTok Shop businesses scaling past 200K per month in profit. Big welcome, Valentino.
Thank you, Peter. Excited to be here, and yeah, it was amazing when we first met in person in Vegas, and yeah, looking forward to today's questions and hopefully being able to help out one or two people who are watching this.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. Now, for people who don't know you yet, can you share your background and how you transitioned from scaling a 30 million per year consultancy into the publishing world?
Yes, absolutely. Like, why should you even listen to me? The reason for that might be that right now we have one of the best performing books on Amazon. I don't even want to tell you exactly how well it's doing because people are figuring out which our book is if I give them like too much information. And the reason for that is not because I or my partner that we're like geniuses and we just came up with this and we're going to make this book and we know that it's going to work, but it's really from that thinking of understanding, look, I don't know why something might work, but I can look at inputs and I can look at outputs, and if the outputs are good, I'm just going to do more of these. And that is the thinking that I've basically learned to have very early on. Initially, I had a coaching business that was doing workshops and events all around the world in person for like 7 years. I had a lot of amazing experiences traveling the world, but it was a little too hectic for me. I wanted to start doing something that is going to allow me to be in one place at a time. Started to go more online. Then COVID hit. Then I started to work with this consultancy from Germany that you mentioned, where we were helping other coaches and agencies that are online based to basically scale their operations from anywhere between 50 to 100,000 a month, and then growing it from there. Some of the clients, they got to over $1 million a month with like very high profit businesses. And that was a lot of fun, but I liked to live in the US, and this consultancy was in Germany, and I would have had to go to Germany to be able to continue that. And while that was happening, I was working with somebody called Dave Perrotta, who you've already had on the channel, and I think we'll have on the channel again. Absolute, like one of the most amazing guys ever. Super, like very, very fair, very hardworking, very creative. And he started to have more and more success on a book and multiple books. And he was looking for somebody that could help with the operational side of things. We've had worked, together in the past, and it just seemed like a good match. And yeah, now we're here. Now we basically started scaling this book business further and further, using the same mentalities that we I took from this other industry, which I think is part of the reason why we might have been able to scale in other ways, because it's different thinking. I took thinking that may not be currently very common in the self-publishing space, and am applying it there. But yeah, I hope that gives a bit of an idea. I don't mean to talk too much. I do get into this a lot, and I'm super excited to just provide as much value, answer all your questions, and make this hopefully a useful video for people to watch.
That's amazing. I'm very much looking forward to diving deeper into all your knowledge and the value you can provide. And when you first looked at publishing businesses, what surprised you the most compared to other online businesses you've scaled?
Well, as you all know, it's an amazing type of business, because a lot of the customer service and fulfillment is outsourced, and you can really figure out, like, if you can figure out an amazing niche that people are looking for, and you're able to establish yourself, you can have this real estate, and that nobody else necessarily will be able to take from you, as long as you defend it strongly enough. But what has been very exciting now recently, and what has, I guess, maybe surprised me, but it's really been changing a lot. Like, the strategies that have maybe worked a year ago might no longer suffice to keep a number one spot, with TikTok Shop coming in, becoming more relevant, people finding other ways to basically drive traffic towards an Amazon listing that's not just within Amazon, but definitely not having to worry about that fulfillment aspect was probably one of the surprises.
You would also say that there is an increased need for publishers to consider outside traffic to their Amazon listings.
I mean, depends what your goal is, I would say. Like, if your goal is to have a small listing, a lifestyle business where you just travel around the world and in like low cost countries, maybe you don't have to do that. But if you want to scale into the 6+ figures a month, I haven't seen anyone be able to do that consistently without outside traffic.
That makes sense. And we have many examples of just using Facebook ads, how that increases the ranking and for certain keywords. And also I have a big email list, so I've seen that firsthand as well. But TikTok Shop, I can only imagine the benefit of that, because you're not only getting sales to TikTok Shop, but you're also getting spillover sales to Amazon, which is greatly beneficial. Now, from an operator's perspective, why do some publishing businesses reach 6 figures and then completely stall?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of reasons for it, but when we look at these external traffic sources that, like, for example, TikTok Shop, that worked extremely well, from my perspective, they're not necessarily strongly, naturally overlapping with being able to produce an otherwise well-positioned KDP book, right? Because you could basically, if you're great at figuring out like which niche you want to go for, you project manage the entire writing and publishing, etc. process, or maybe you write it yourself, that's one skill set. And then, for example, for TikTok Shop, producing repeatable, high quality, high volume videos is those two things have nothing to do with each other. Like, this is a new skill set. And I think a lot of people, they don't know how to get to the skill set in the fastest way possible. And I think they try to do too much themselves, and they're like too afraid of reinvesting a certain amount of their profits into, for example, partnering with, again, always people that do quality work. It obviously doesn't work if you don't partner with somebody who does good work, but a video agency or somebody who can just take care or the leadership role in fulfilling that. And I mean, I see it for ourselves. Like, I'm really in the headspace right now, instead of like, how do I do this, etc. It's like, we have the capital, we have the luxury to just hire the right people and then get them to own a specific part of the business. Like, personally, right now, we're like looking to go beyond TikTok Shop, beyond Amazon, and creating more funnels that are, coming from Facebook or YouTube, and then creating a whole like suite of offers that have the book as part of it. But if somebody is interested, let's just say, in a fishing book, they might be interested in buying fishing supplies or fishing coaching or fishing trips. And so you could increase what you call the LTV, the lifetime value of a customer, extremely by being able to create the right funnel structure. And there are people who are extremely good at that, who've been doing that for 10 years. That's all they do. They think about the exact numbers and exactly how much it should cost. If you can find somebody that can do that with you and give them a profit percentage of the upside, not just somebody like, oh, here's $10,000 or $50,000, build me a funnel, and then they're gone. But if you can make it, hey, here's a percentage, so you are incentivized to make this work, because the more money this makes, the more money you're going to make, right? So I think basically trying to do everything themselves and thinking too small and like not thinking about additional avenues. And then if you have a winner, like triple down on it. Like 90% of our overall like royalties even just are from like 2 books basically.
Wow, many great points there. In terms of the
plus books that we have, but we don't have that many, but we have like 50 plus. But yeah, so there you go.
And those 2 books, are they recent books, or were they somewhere in the middle, or were they in the beginning?
So one of them is over a year old and started slowly, and then we started putting TikTok attention on it, and it really blew up. And then 2 other books we basically built in proximity to that book thematically, right? So that we can use the same content and scripts on TikTok, so we don't have to, again, and this is also about operational thinking. It's like, if I see something working, like how can I just do more and more of the same, of like the thing that works, maybe with slight tweaks. But like if you have a book that works in whatever, the fishing industry, you probably then shouldn't make one totally about something else, but maybe you do something adjacent, like fishing for seniors or fishing for this demographic or whatever. Something that is adjacent, because then especially with the video processes, you can then duplicate these videos because they still apply also to the second book. And yeah, I mean, that's how we have 3 books in the top 1000 BSR, all in the same niche.
Great. So what I'm hearing is leverage. You leverage what is already working, but also in terms of the video production, the skills, like you said, it's a completely new skill. So you're not starting from scratch. And I can see a lot of people with any skill, we often start in unconscious incompetence, and then we work upwards to conscious competence. But if you don't know what is a great video, then it's going to be extra hard, because you might think that you're creating a great video. So my question is, how do you, when you want to partner up or you want to hire someone to create the videos, what do you look for specifically in order to make the right choice?
Yeah. Hey, like that's the $1 million question, but it's always about like the highest likelihood of somebody doing something in the future is, have they done it well in the past, ideally in the recent past. So like right now, like I'm in the process of interviewing multiple people that all are, they have a lot of signs that they should know what they're talking about this like extra funnel that we're building with the book as a piece of that. And I'm just like asking them like, what funnels have you built? What are the results? Like, and if they can't answer these questions, then I'm like, well, then what are we like? Well, you don't know which funnels you build. You don't know how much these funnels are making. Then something's fishy here, right? Especially in America, you have to be careful because everyone's number one at everything. So you gotta, cut through the noise a little bit. And one is, don't just go with the first option just because one guy is like, hey, I can do this for you. And you're like, oh, great. Oh, just interview like 5, 6, 7, 8 people, because then you actually start becoming more of an expert because you start understanding this subject that you don't even know about, because they are actually training you by answering your questions, right? So same with like the video, like I would interview multiple people, see what they've done in the past. And then, yeah, you don't have to be the expert, but you should, work with somebody who is as best as you can.
And that's a great hack that doesn't just apply to hiring for publishing. It's, let's say you want to change your roof. I did that once, and I just, every time you learn something new, and then you can ask about what the other guy said. Hey, this guy said this.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. And at what point?
Retraining, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And it's perfect. Now, at what point does publishing stop being a creator-driven business and start becoming an operational-driven business?
So I would say, when you say creator-driven, would you say in terms of like the creativity to create the books or create the videos? Or what does it mean to you, like creator-driven?
Let's say creating the book.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say it depends a bit on who you are and where basically you're at with how much you could invest, because it could in the very beginning already be an operations driven business when if you're not the one who creates the book, right? Because you can hire that out as well. You could hire somebody to or use AI to like ideate. Maybe you are the one who ideates the title and finds the niche, but even there you can have help from somebody like yourself, coaching programs, like people can give you insights of like, well, this is a good idea, this is not a good idea. So you're already getting feedback, and then you don't have to write the book, right? You can find an expert. You don't have to format or edit the book. You can find an editor and then a formatter, or a proofreader. And so if you have some finances to be able to basically outsource this, then your job is the operator is just to like manage these people and get it through. And so I would say as soon as you have the finances to not be in the fulfillment anymore. You mentioned the $30 million consultancy that I was a part of in Germany. And the guy who like founded that, he like somebody asked him like, hey, what if you like started a business today? Like which business would you start? And he said, I would start a business where I cannot do the fulfillment, right? So he's basically a consultant and coach. Like he understands what he's doing and he can fulfill. But he said like, I would start a business I wouldn't be able to fulfill because then I have to build the business. Then I can't get stuck in the fulfillment, or I can't get stuck in the writing. I'm writing the books because I'm a writer, I'm an author. If I don't know how to write, then I'm not going to get stuck in that role. And so I am going to be the operator. And that's how you build the business.
It's like you're watching from above and you're constructing this big system. That's in essence what I'm hearing. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm thinking about everything as like an assembly line. Like everything is a process, and there are multiple steps. Even in the book creation process, there are multiple steps, right? Yep. And you don't have to be the person that is doing any of these steps if you can set up the assembly line. And I mean, some people who look at themselves as an author and they take pride in it, and I think that's a great thing, but that's a different thing than building a big business. Those two things, they're exclusive, I would say, because I've never written a book, yet I am scaling one of the biggest self-publishing companies because I can't write the book. So I have to just think, okay, I'm just having to put the right people in place and then do the quality management, etc., and just build the team and build the systems because I can't even do it.
I think that's a great advantage. For example, I can't design book covers, and that leads me to instead hire great book designers. So it's a great efficiency actually when it comes to scaling a publishing business. Now, speaking of systems, what are the first systems or structures a publisher must build before trying to scale aggressively?
It's a great question, and I think it really, again, it depends how you want to go about it, because I would say there are multiple ways to scaling a publishing business, right? You're a great example of having a lot of books, right? You basically have like your portfolio is like, you have like an index. If you think about the stock market, like you're not doubling down, like, or maybe you are, maybe I don't know, right? But compared to us, like 90% of our revenues from one like title, basically from one book, right? Now, if something happens to that book, that would be a problem, right? That would not be good. So we're a little risky in that way. So we have to be extra protective of making sure that nothing happens to that title, and we're doing everything we can to protect it. But one way to scale is to have many, many, many books that you produce that maybe you just do on Amazon. And then there, it's also, again, thinking about, well, what is my process here? How do I create this great book, writing down the process, and then finding people to do each step, and then seeing like, where is it slowing down? Like why, and a great question is always asked, like, why can I do 10 times more? Like whatever you're publishing right now, like if you're publishing, because I've met people who publish 4 to 6 to 8 books a month, which is amazing, right? Why can't you do 40? Why? And then the first answer that comes is like, oh, well, this. And it's like, okay, well, that's your bottleneck, right? So then how can you attack that bottleneck? And then another way to scale is to choose a book, do your research, talk to somebody who has success in this area, basically what we did when it comes to TikTok Shop, and then test that book on TikTok Shop and see if it's selling out or if it's not selling out. If it starts to sell out, great. Now, how did you sell it out? Well, you probably sold it out by creating video. Okay. Why can't you create 10 videos a day if you started with one? And then why can't you do 30? Is it the scripting? Is it the video production? Is it the B-roll shooting? Like, what is the thing that's holding you back? And that's all. I'm always just thinking about it. Like, why can't we do 10x? And it's like, oh, this thing. Okay, well then let's attack that one. So that, because when you look at the assembly line, it's almost like certain things could actually have more, what would you call, like higher output through, and then certain things are like the bottleneck. And then you got to figure out what that is and get rid of that. And that's true for that's true for every business, like a coaching business, car wash, like everything.
Yeah, that's a great question, but it's also could be a painful question to answer. And maybe some people don't want to look at the problem. It's what Brian Tracy calls it's eating the frog. Now, then
you're not going to. Then you just have to be happy with not making as much money.
That's a good, either eat the frog or make more money.
Or don't complain. Right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so because the answer is right there. If you're willing to answer the question, what is stopping you from doing 10 times more? That's a great way to find a bottleneck. Now, when the business began scaling past 200K month profit, what was the first structural change you implemented behind the scenes?
So definitely one part is to like increase your legal protections. So you can get your copyrights from different places, and we just made sure we have it from every reputable place, like with the actual, like the government, these different services that basically give you the copyright, that if somebody tries to attack your listing or tries to do something malicious on Amazon, for example, that you can protect yourself. Because like right now we have an insane amount of attention that goes to our Amazon listing, like in a way that I never even thought was possible. Like if you look at all of the TikTok traffic, us, and then different like resellers of our product or our book, it's north of over 500,000 a month in revenue just on TikTok Shop. But the reason why we make over 200,000 per month in profit right now just on Amazon is because we own the Amazon. No one else has an Amazon listing on this book, right? And so if somebody tries to do something with that, which they already have, like there are people who try weird things, they're like adding their formats, it splits the listing, all kinds of like weird stuff. And if you don't have like the legal protection, then Amazon might not be as helpful, right? So that's definitely like one thing that I think a lot of people forget about, that like make sure your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. And then, yeah, so that would be the first one.
So when that happened, what action did you take? Did you email KDP and they were able to take the other books down, or what happened?
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah, we emailed KDP. And then we might have some further like legal action that we can do to make, because that person is doing that to a lot of books. And if we give them enough pain, if they keep working with us or try to do this to us, then we hope that that's always like a thinking. It's like scammers, they'll never stop if you ask them nicely. But if you show them that if they continue, they'll get a lot of pain, they might stop, or more likely to stop. They're just like, okay, it's just not worth this risk. Let me go scam other people, which is so messed up. But you gotta protect yourself.
That makes sense. And what operational bottlenecks typically appear when publishers move from small operations into real multi-channel businesses?
I would say, like, again, just trying to do everything. And so like you yourself, and then getting overwhelmed and having the basically dying a death of 1,000 cuts. I'm sure you've heard that metaphor before, where like you're so busy with all these little things, but then the big things are not moving forward. And I'm a victim of that, like probably more than anybody else. Like I have like 17 different like things that I can pay attention to grow the business. Even though we're doing like objectively really well, personally, I'm like, this is terrible. Like we could do so much better. Like there's so much potential we're like not, taken care of. But then you just have to, like, for yourself, I would say like the first 3-4 hours in the morning, just maybe look at your email or whatever you have to, just to make sure there's no actual like it's super emergent fire. And then you put that aside and just work on that one main thing that's going to move the needle the most, that one main bottleneck, before you like get lost in the busyness of the day. And then getting people in the right roles and partnering with people and not being afraid of like taking a smaller cut of a bigger pie. Like that is definitely a huge thing I see. I think also the KDP like community, like it's, to me at least, it seems like everyone's kind of afraid like, oh, I don't want to give away a percentage of my books. Like I'd rather make much less money but keep 100% than like partner with somebody who could, 10x the whole thing. Like for us, I mean, we went from doing 7,000 a month with that book before TikTok to making with just that book in the 200,000, like, and that's profit, right? That's not the overall sales. Like just on Amazon, what is that? A 30x almost, right? But we also partner with people, and especially if they can own it. So personally, I'm not a believer to give a percentage to somebody who's just like doing a job. Like you can also have people that work for you at a standard salary. But if somebody owns a big responsibility that's going to grow something, see if you can incentivize them to be aligned to grow it, right? And the real killers, they will take no base and they'll just take a part of the upside. Like you can even have a baseline, and whatever above that baseline, you have some sort of split that is fair. And then let's go. So you have no risk. And if it grows, everyone makes money.
And that makes sense. It's a good analogy. Would you rather have all of the pie, or would you rather have a bigger pie at the end, but you just have a piece of a big piece of the pie? So if you look at it that way, it makes logical sense to go with what will give you the most in the end. Now, what metrics or signals do you operators monitors that most publishers completely overlook?
So I'm like a huge stickler with like unit economics, especially for TikTok Shop. Like I know on the cent how much it costs us to like fulfill the book. And I am very aware of like how much are we spending on ads? What is the exact amount we're making back? Are we profitable? Are we not profitable? So like financially, being like, and a lot of people don't like doing this because it's like not sexy, it's not creative. But I've seen people like just like lose like $20,000, like, and I'm like, well, how much are you, like, what are your numbers? And they're like, well, I thought it's just this. And I was like, well, but yeah, you have the shipping too, and you have the TikTok fee of 6%, and you have this fee, and then you have the affiliate fee, and you have this. And like, this is actually what it comes out to. Like, oh, actually every single book that you're selling, you're losing $5. So you're incentivized not to sell books. And then also TikTok especially is not making it easy to see the real numbers. They are doing certain things like in a slightly, I'm trying to find the right word that is not offensive, but in a slightly not easy to understand way. Like they on purpose kind of like massage the number to look a little better than it really is. And if you're trying to be like break even, you might actually be losing money thinking you're making money because like there are so many different costs and whatever. So like having the clarity on that, which we have, I think is one of the things, especially when people go into TikTok Shop, that they overlook. And then on the other side, sometimes they're also like too cautious, and they're like, oh, I'm just going to spend $100 on ads a day or $200. And it's like, well, if you actually do these settings, it's going to make sure that you always make this return. So you could spend $1,000 if you'd like to make more money and still be profitable. But for that, I understand you want to be more careful if you don't understand it. And there are not many people that are offering like this specific help, because I mean, there's just, from what I've seen, there's not that many people who do it well yet. So, but if you get into TikTok Shop, like right next to time, like in a year or 2 years, it might not be as attractive anymore, because more like it's still like, there's still weird things. There's still weird settings that like make no sense that you have to click that. Like you're like, that should just be default. And it's like not. Unless you know. But that's a good thing, because that means that the barrier of entry is bigger, less competition or less competent competition, which means there's a bigger delta of money being like, I love like my partner, like whenever something like isn't working, he's at times but he gets like, oh damn, like it's not working, like this sucks. And I'm like, this is awesome. Because if it's not working for us, it means it's not working for others. And if we can figure it out, we have an advantage right now.
That makes sense. And on TikTok Shop, is it similar to KDP or Amazon, where you have a launch period where you maybe go more heavy on ads for, let's say, 3 weeks, and then you optimize for profit? Or is it that you optimize for profit at all with TikTok Shop? Or is it more that you're breaking even on TikTok Shop and then you're making the money on Amazon? What's the strategy there?
That is a great question. I would say initially you want to maximize revenue. So you want to figure out what is your break-even point, which again is not that easy, especially if you like get affiliates in and then they get a different commission if their video is shown as an ad or if the same video is shown organically. And then in the ads portal, it's going to show, oh, they made this much money and it's all from the ad. But in reality, it's a mix of the two commissions. So like the standard is like 20% on organic, 5% on ads commission for the affiliates, like if you get somebody else to promote your book. But then in reality, like even though, because if a creative, like a video gets pushed by this campaign at all, it will also get more organic views, but then those organic sales are 20%, right? And so that's a difference. 20 to 50, that's a 4x difference between 5% and 20%. And again, there are ways to actually figure out what it is, like, and you have to click around and then you can see, okay, this creator make this much, so the real percentage might be 12%, right? But if you know your break even, I would suggest you want to maximize revenue, because initially your shop's not going to look attractive. You don't have any reviews on the shop. It's harder to get reviews on TikTok than it is, for example, on Amazon. Like you can't just be, here's a free Kindle or something like that. That doesn't exist because it's only physical products and only people who have bought it can leave a review. Like if somebody didn't buy the product, they can't leave a review, right? So it's all verified reviews basically. And then your shop has a rating. It can see how many units have been sold. And so newer shops where things haven't really sold that much yet, people are more careful with. The conversion is much worse. So initially you want to, make your listing on TikTok Shop basically appear more trustworthy, better, etc. And then there are ways to like basically see, okay, now it is sort of established, and we're basically at that point right now where we're optimizing the ROI, creating more profit on TikTok. While we might have a slight drop on the spillover, that drop is smaller than the extra profit we make on TikTok Shop. But that is something like that is only going to be relevant once you've sold maybe a couple thousand at least, or 10,000 plus copies on TikTok Shop. Otherwise, you shouldn't even think about it.
Brief shameless plug you don't want to miss. Have you ever wanted to meet other KDP publishers, exchange ideas, and have a great time together? Then our 2-day Mastermind event in London, UK on April 11 and 12 is exactly what you're looking for. Uncover secret strategies in our speeches, get one-on-one advice from me and our team in live workshop sessions, and exchange ideas with other publishers at your level and above. Click the link below this video to find out more and get your ticket.
Okay, and if we have an advanced publisher watching this, maybe they have a portfolio of 10 plus books, maybe 100. How do they select the books to publish on TikTok Shop? Is it those that have the most mass appeal? Is it high content? Does medium content work on TikTok Shop? Can you give us some advice there?
Yes. So we go about things very scientifically. Like I have no opinion. If you show me a video, I have no opinion, like if without stats. I don't care if it's good or bad or what I think. Like I don't care what I think basically about a video's virality or anything. You can be like a savant, a marketing savant, and just like, no, like this script works for sure. This video will be viral. I've never met anyone who can do that. Like where you give him a script and he can tell how viral, if it's going to be viral or not. Like sometimes you make a video, you're like, that's never going to go. And then takes off. And another one, you're like, this is amazing. And it's like, you're second worst. And you're like, huh? Like, doesn't make sense. So we go very like basically scientifically and statistically about it. So if I was a publisher, I have 10 books, and we literally had a call today with a potentially new person that was trying to work with us, which we don't really do. But if someone bugs us enough, we're like, get on the call. They're really motivated. And then he has that situation. He has multiple books that are doing well. And so the way we go about it is you take a look on TikTok for which of these topics are there already books that are doing well, or books that are similar that are doing well, that have a lot of content, and then how like consolidated is this space? Is there only like 1 or 2 winners, or are there like 5 books that are doing well in this one niche? Because if you have a competitor who's doing kind of okay, or their book is like looks worse, but they're doing well, you then can literally go by using Calodata, and you see what the videos are, how well they perform, and then you can just take those videos, maybe take the hook of the video 1-to-1, and then maybe adjust the script a little bit, and you already have something like, this is proven, this video made $30,000. So the highest chance of making a video that's going to convert this type of book is one like that. No more than whatever you think you're going to like, pull out of a hat. And then go with that, right? So it is kind of like, well, the books that already do well, that have, what would you call it, a mass appeal. And then I'm thinking like, what are topics that are relevant to as many people as possible? And so like one person, they might have a religious book of a specific niche. Maybe there aren't yet many books of that exact religious spin on a book, but there are other books which videos would apply to this book. So I want to like look for as many videos basically that are proven to create sales that I can then apply it to my own base, because that's the highest chance of winning.
It's interesting. So you're looking at the videos, not necessarily the books first. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, I look at the niche, right? And then is this niche, can I use these videos for my book?
So let's say a super niche example, let's say knitting for beginners. Would the process be that you search on TikTok for videos and then you try to find these knitting?
Data. I would use it on Data, yeah.
Okay, and then if you can't find any knitting video over, let's say 100K views, then it's probably not.
It's not about the views, it's about, on Data, it's going to tell me how much GMV, how much revenue that video has generated.
Okay.
Like it will tell me that this video made, 10,000 in sales. Because sometimes like we've had videos, so like we have, for example, like we have videos that have like 10 million views. And then we have another video that has like 1.5 million. So like an 8 of that. But the 1.5 million view video might sell 4 times more total than the 10 million video, right? Because it's better at converting. Right? Some videos are more viral and other videos are more conversion optimized. So just because it has a lot of views doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to have a lot of sales. There are videos that have 500,000 views and not a single sale, even though it is a shoppable video.
Fast growth creates risk. What compliance or operational mistakes most often limit publishers or create platform problems? So
this is also a decision of which book you might want to put on TikTok or not. So if it's like heavy on financial claims, like you're going to have, that's not going to be easy to, like a lot of your videos might be taken down. Right. So you want to look at like TikTok's compliance or like weight loss. Like if your book, for example, is about weight loss, it might work totally perfectly on Amazon. Right. But on TikTok, if you make content like, and then this is weight loss, they might flag it and they might take down your shop because there are certain claims that TikTok doesn't want you to make, even if they're true, because there's just too many scammers in that thing. So like financial claims, and especially also like weight loss claims, and like stuff about attraction, like you have to be a little bit more careful. Yeah. So that is one. And then one thing that a lot of people aren't aware of is that you may sometimes not even be able to reuse your own footage in multiple shoppable videos on TikTok. So there's like a little nugget that we had to learn where you might film your book and then you're like, oh, this is a great B-roll. I'm going to use it in another video as well when I'm like flipping through the book. But then TikTok might flag it and be like, hey, this is unoriginal content because this was used before. Even if it's you that used it, because they make a differentiation between shoppable videos and non-shoppable videos. So non-shoppable is just like a regular video that you put on TikTok. Shoppable video is that it has the link that you can click to buy something. And it's not fully consistent, but it's a risk. So, something to basically definitely look out for. And then the last one is if you're not from the US, there are ways for you to still do US TikTok shop, but it's much harder than Amazon. Like to do Amazon US, it's way easier. And yeah, something that people can reach out about if they want to know more. But we have a few people who actually do that. But you have to do it the right way. And then also, even if you have it set up, you have a US based like representative. If you're the one who still posts from outside of the US, there's a specific way you have to set up your phone so that it doesn't appear that you're not in the US, because then it will still not work. Or they like shadow ban you, or they're like not going to show you content. And you're like, why am I not making sales? Because TikTok doesn't believe that you're in the US. Even though it's allowed to basically be outside and have a BSR, but it's just like TikTok is like, it's not like fully smoothed out yet, which is the opportunity, right? There's still like kinks in the thing.
So even if you're a US person, you should be careful when you're outside of
Yep.
Now, everyone talks about AI right now. Where are you actually seeing real operational leverage versus distraction?
I mean, yeah, there's so much noise when it comes to that. And I think a lot of people don't really understand, like, and I'm not saying I understand it, but I have some developers on the team who basically explained to me that any, different application or even like software or like AI that you see is usually beneath it, it's Claude, GPT, or Gemini. And they're just like doing like a hidden prompt, and they're using these different models sometimes in a sequence to then create the illusion of like another AI. And so understanding that that's the case, if you're able to get to the source GPT, Claude, or Gemini, and then build an application based on that, which is like what we have done. We have something that is basically called a script writer, where we can input a script that is proven to work, even if it's a slightly different niche, and it'll spit out the script for our niche that has as many of the elements from the other one. And so because that was our bottleneck to create more videos was we're not producing enough scripts. And so I'm like, all right, well, let's attack that problem. And we did. And so now that is working like extremely well. What is your next bottleneck? And then how can you use the actual, for example, I like Claude most of the time when it comes to like creative writing. So how can I, for example, use Claude and prompt it the right way to help me get through these bottlenecks? So I think that's an extremely good one. And then we have some exciting friends who are going to be in London, who are working on something incredible when it comes to like AI workflow and book creation. I don't know if they even want me to like talk about that at all, but I think they're doing some amazing stuff, and I'm very excited to like learn more about it in a month from now. So I know they're doing a lot of stuff, and from what they showed me, like that's not distraction. That's like, I'm like, damn, good luck if you're a writer, man.
You're talking about PublishFlow.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. PublishFlow. Yeah.
Lovely. Very interesting. Now, I want to circle back to what you mentioned. You said script was your bottleneck. That got me questioning. You have 2 books that are producing the majority of the revenue. So this is a 2-part question. Did you publish all the 50 books on TikTok Shop? And also in terms of the top books that you have, how many scripts do you have? How many videos do you have running? And do you still produce new videos?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we only have 3 books out of the 50 on TikTok Shop right now. And the reason for that is that, again, what is your bottleneck, right? So you're producing these videos, and if you produce a video and you publish it and it goes viral, then people might buy the book. They see it, if the video goes viral, they see the book more, they'll buy it on Amazon, right? And so the question is, well, how many videos can I publish of one book per day before that becomes in effect? Like basically, it would be better to publish another video instead for a different book than for the same book. And the answer there is like, kind of like, it might be like, you could publish at least like 30 plus videos per day on a winning book. Like we don't really see like why that wouldn't be the case, because when you have a TikTok shop, you can have multiple marketing accounts. The marketing accounts are just like the regular TikTok accounts. Like that's what everyone uses. When you watch TikTok, you have a marketing TikTok account basically. And so I can have my shop and I'm selling my best-selling book, and then I could make videos with like a realistic AI. Then I could make videos of myself. Then I could make videos that are cartoony, and then I can make all kinds of different cartoony ones. I can do stick figures. I can make the Simpsons types of version. I can do South Park, or whatever you might want to do. And then you want to have that consistency within one marketing channel. And then basically the limit per marketing channel from TikTok's head of the book category, like the guy who literally is responsible for all the books, and you've met him, Michael. He was in Vegas at your event. He said that it's around 30 videos per marketing account. And you can have 5 marketing accounts for one shop. So that would be 150 videos a day. That's a lot of videos, right? And so depending on how viral your book goes and everything, like at some point that point of like, okay, it's worth more to publish a video about a second and a different book occurs. It's a little hard to tell exactly when that is. But we know, like, again, it's really, really high. And some people, like we had phases where we had 30 affiliates or creators who were all publishing one video per day. And then we were publishing 10 videos per day. So we had 40 videos per day, 280 per week, and almost 1,000 a month. And we didn't like see like, okay, it's like dropping or something. So it's like, and then if your book, you know, keeps ranking, it's doing extremely well, it's ranking up the BSR on Amazon, you're like, why would I waste resources on a different book that is less proven?
That makes sense. Now, when selecting those 3 books, did you do a lot of research on that? So you really saw, okay, this is where we have the highest potential.
I'm supposed to say yes to this answer, but the honest answer was that we just started like seeing like the market seemed to just like that book of ours the most. It's in a niche where we saw, okay, there's a lot of other videos that are similar. We can replicate or you know, steal like an artist, like take their structure and then maybe use our own script or whatever. And then we just started, and then it just really took off. And, you know, and then you're just like, well, again, we have a winner. We could try a different niche and maybe have a winner, but right now this is a winner. So, and then again, this people make this mistake with every business. Like they too often try to make a second channel, even though they haven't maxed out the first channel. Like whatever you have, like just keep pushing harder until you have like diminishing return. And then are those diminishing returns because of the system, like because of there is not more, or because you're not doing it the right way? Because maybe it's diminishing and now you're kind of like in one channel, and then that one channel has multiple channels, because you could have one book, right, with like a realistic AI. But if you have like a realistic AI, like a grandpa that is of a certain, you know, background, like race, what if you made another channel with a different race, because people like buying from people that they look alike? And then again, okay, now you have an additional thing, and now it creates more sales. So I think people switch too often instead of just going. But if you keep going, you go hard for, let's say, 2-3 months, and the book is not taking off, probably time to test another, or talk to you or us, and like for us to like analyze, like, do your videos suck or does the book suck? Because maybe it's your videos.
Yeah, and this is something I thought about this morning, and I would argue that this has at least been the most valuable part of the interview from my perspective. And I think a lot of Amazon publishers that publish books, they have this mindset, okay, I got to publish more books. But what you're saying is you haven't maxed out the book that you already have. And this reminds me, Tim, you know, Gerald manages the ads for Tim, and Tim had a question to Gerald. Hey, Gerald, should I publish a new book? And Gerald said, when you have a book that is 3-digit PSR, it makes more sense to just push that book, because let's say you're going to make $30, $50 per day in extra profit from this new book. Well, those $30 to $50 in extra profit is much more easy to make in this book that you already have, which has a 3-digit PSR. So just keep focusing on that book. And we have a limited amount of resources, and that's even when you're winning, you get a lot of money. Still, it's the time, the attention, and you have to carefully select, okay, what is worth my time? And I really like what you said with, okay, do it until you see diminishing returns. That's when you start considering, okay, maybe now let's look at another challenge.
Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt you, but at that point, you should talk to someone who's better than you, was more successful than you, to answer the question of, is this really it? Like, what's the reason for the diminishing return, right? Is it because you now, within this one book, you could actually do something that you haven't thought of to drive even more traffic to it? Or is it likely because there is one, because there's a TAM, a total addressable market for any niche, right? Like, have you really reached your TAM for a product or service? And if you're like, well, I'm on Amazon and TikTok, it's like, well, not everyone's on TikTok. And look at my background. Great.
Yeah.
Then there's 2 ways that you actually can scale, right? You can then take another book, for example, and use the same funnels that you have. You have the product that sells, which is harder, by the way, to find a product that just sells by itself. Like if you have something that sells and you have a 3-digit BSR, for example, without like doing everything that's possible, maybe that would also sell on a Facebook funnel. Maybe that would also sell on a YouTube funnel. Maybe that would also sell organically. Maybe that would also sell in other ways that could be adjacent, right? So it's like 2 ways to then go about it. Yeah.
And once you crack it once, let's say you have Facebook funnel that you open up, then you can apply that to your second book, your third book. So it's if you can get it to work, you can leverage in the future as well. And what I'm hearing is you're leaving a lot of money on the table, but you're leaving it on the table for even more money.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's that opportunity cost, and I'm always like thinking like probabilistically, and I'm always like, how do I know I'm wrong? How do I know I'm right? Like being more humble has usually helped. Like you tell me like, here's a title, and I'm like, I like it, but just because I like it doesn't mean it's gonna work. Or if I dislike it, that also doesn't mean it's not gonna work, right? I'm like, well, what's the data? Like, what are other titles? What are in this niche? Like, what works well? And that's like I like going about business in that sort of fashion, basically. And yeah, it's working at the moment. So
yeah.
Getting feedback that it might work.
And usually you have to go with your emotions a couple of times. Okay, I think, or your own convictions. Okay, this is gonna work, and then it fails, and then at a certain point you're just, okay, whatever the market wants, I'll give it to them. Now, Valentino, you'll be speaking at the Driven Publishers Elite London. What kind of operational frameworks will you be sharing with advanced publishers there?
Yeah, I mean, super excited. We were part of the last event. We're literally, coming to Europe just to be with you guys. So I hope that like kind of communicates also to anybody who's like asking themselves like, what is it like, etc. Like it's just like a place of amazing people in terms of like helpful and friendly, because like I've been in different business niches, let's just say, and I would say like especially your community is just like so helpful, and like we wouldn't be working like with PublishFlow if we hadn't met them at this event, and it's already helping us like right now in our processes. And so what we will be focusing on is like frameworks in terms of how to think about when you are scaling different points where people get stuck. We touched on that a little bit here. And then I just like providing like, specific nuggets of like, hey, like once you start here, make sure that all of these things are set up in this way, and talk about like the most common mistakes that people commit. And if you oftentimes like, you don't have to do things right, just don't do them wrong. And then you end up doing things mostly right.
Inversion thinking. It's just, what do I do to fail? Okay, let's make sure I don't do that. Now, after attending your session, what changes should publishers expect to make immediately inside their businesses?
If you have a book that, has any level of success and you're not on TikTok Shop, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, now is the time. Like, right now is Bitcoin 2012. And I'm like, buy a Bitcoin. And you're like, it's $50 or whatever it was, $100. It's not worth it. Like, that's how I'm feeling. Cause like, we're like currently like in the gold mine, basically. And I'm like looking around and there's like, are we really one of the ones that are the deepest in this thing? And other people are just like not getting it. And yeah, if you can figure it out, if there's a way you can figure it out, we can, find someone that can help you, or you just spend the time. Like, I wasn't great at video. I wasn't born being great at video. I just did it a lot, and then I got good. Like, if you just see the patterns again and again, you tend to get better, right? So especially right now in KDP, like, I think it's one thing because it's kind of like a little bit outside of the rest of Amazon and KDP, and that's where like and then people are, but it's hard. It's like, yeah, but that's also like might 30x your business. Yeah, that's why you can 30x your business, because it's a little hard.
There's a barrier of entry keeping a lot of people out.
Yeah, and again, that's a good thing. You should be excited. And the great thing, anyone's like, oh, I don't want to do this. Like, sure, all right, don't. Like, cool.
Now, Valentino, if someone wants to reach out to you directly, where's the best way to do so?
I mean, again, we're not looking to like we were very busy with our own businesses, but if someone bugs us enough, we can have a conversation with them. Easiest is just to message us on Instagram. I guess you could just put my Instagram in the description. I don't check it every day. I'm not on Instagram every day, but I'll check it once a week. And if I see somebody message, just just tell me you came from Peter's interview. And again, we've received so much help from people in the space, from yourself. There was an issue. We messaged you and you got on a call with us and helped us resolve it. So I feel like that's the type of community I enjoy being part of. And so we've gone through a lot of pain and a lot of learning lessons. And if we can help people to have a little bit less pain, then, why not?
That's a great mindset. Now, for you, viewer, if this conversation resonated, London is where this level of operational thinking happens live. I want to thank you, Valentino. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and you've provided so much value throughout this interview.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you for having us, and hopefully see you guys in London.
Yeah, see you in London.